other joke was that our state flower is mildew because it rains so much.
And so you might just accidentally push yourself in the wrong direction a little bit, and then it's like, I'm going to pay for it the next day.
There's no guarantee whether we'll do it.
But I was just like chilling. I look over and I was like, oh, hello, vagina. I was
keep that compass pointed, true north to what you believe.
Definitely don't go to school.
Go to rock and roll school.
That's it.
That's kind of crazy, but
I don't remember this.
Me neither.
But when it comes to write lyrics, I really, it's a pain in the ass for me,
Wow, this is what I want to listen to during my whole life.
Did you really bring that up? That was a private conversation.
I hope people keep thinking that I'm really relaxed while I'm playing and do not realize when I'm playing the difficult parts of the song.
Those things are always interesting just because I'm so scattered.
Polka metal can be interesting.
Polka metal, yes. I like it.
It's a microphone. What am I supposed to do with this? I'm not sure. I don't remember.
I know who to sue.
Yeah.
It was that being told I can't and I shouldn't made me want to do it.
And I'm really hopeful that
It's not possible.
I want to be in their presence, so I conduct my life in a way that I hope that they want to be in my presence as well.
If I come on to you, when you come on to me.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts, based here in Seattle, Washington, and thank you so much for joining me on this Wednesday, the 2nd of June, 2021. It feels like Tuesday because of the 3-day holiday weekend we had here in the U.S. And again, thank you so much for joining me. Really quick housekeeping is that I do have another live stream interview scheduled for tomorrow at 11:45, which is really kind of an odd time in the morning, Pacific Daylight Time. And that's with Sean, who is the drummer for KK Downing's new band, KK's Priest. So he's going to be talking to me about the recording of their debut album and everything else under the sun. So I'm looking forward to talking to Sean. He's also a really avid skateboarder, which is something I have not covered too much. So that's going to be interesting to talk to him about that. If you'd like to know more about what I have coming up, please follow me as Eclectic Arts Media, one word, on Instagram. And if you're new to my YouTube channel, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, if you could do me a huge favor and subscribe to my channel, that's greatly appreciated. If you could also like this video stream, that's also appreciated. And if you're on the Twitch side of things, if you could follow me over there, I also appreciate that. That's a lot of appreciation going on. I'm really excited about my interview as I get the chance to reconnect with my guest. We did an interview back on the, it was the 6th of May. And so let's get to things. So my guest today has been making music for decades, from the battle cry of Metal Queen to the good time feel of her latest music video, Come On. She can do it all. Her new album, Radio On, is coming out on July 23rd on Metalville Records. Please welcome back to the Eclectic Arts Virtual Studio, Lee Aaron. Hi, Lee.
Hey. Nice to be back, Mark. How are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you up there?
Good. We've got some beautiful weather here today, which is nice because I live on the West Coast, like you do. You're just south of me, actually, because I'm in the Vancouver area. So it's tends to be rainy, but it's like 27 degrees today. No, 80 Fahrenheit or whatever you are on there. Yeah, so it's all good. It's a beautiful day.
It is, yeah. Down here, it's like, I think we hit like almost like 85 yesterday, and it's going to be in the 80s again today. And I like the sun and everything. I don't like the temperatures when they start to come with it, but I don't like it when it gets all sweaty and sticky either.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like, if it's cold, you can always put more clothes on, but when it gets hot, there's only so much you can do after a while. But at the same time, I don't want to knock it too much, because I know we're going to go right back to, I think this is like the upper 50s by this weekend down here. So it's like, take it while you can get it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, thank you so much for coming back. I'm so grateful that I had this opportunity to do a part 2 with you, because I was just kind of getting going the last time we talked. So I definitely want to talk some more about the new album that's coming out, and definitely about the music video that just came out really recently. That was maybe like a week ago, I want to say, when Come On debuted. Is that about right?
Yeah, it dropped last Friday, and we actually have another single dropping in 2 days. So I guess it's the new way of doing things, because there was a little bit of a scramble with the label, because they had a single schedule, but they sort of, again, not to criticize, but they sort of failed to communicate. They were like, well, no, yeah, we're expecting a video for every single as they drop. And we're like, that's like bang, 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 like video, 2 weeks apart, which is just not the way that we were used to doing things up in Canada, but I guess it's the new way they're doing stuff. So yeah, so I was shooting last weekend and the weekend before. So there's, going to be a new video dropping this Friday as well. So yeah.
Oh, wow. Well,
yeah.
From a fan standpoint, that's awesome. Then again, new video to watch. But from your standpoint, that's a lot of work to do in a short amount of time.
Yes, it's a bit crazy, but we're very lucky. We have a gentleman named Frank Greiner, who's part of our creative team, and he's based out of the Southern Ontario area. He's worked with everybody: Def Leppard, Alice Cooper, Rob Zombie, 9 Inch Nails, Trent Reznor. He's really, really gifted, and he has. So in COVID times, it hasn't been possible for us to actually get into a room together as a bi-coastal band and film a video. But come on, looks like we're all playing in the same room together, and we all just filmed against a white backdrop, and our digital wizard guy he's like, I'm going to make you look like you're all playing together. And we're like, yeah, because we so wish we could be.
Well, it came out great because, I didn't even think about the fact that, that you have a band member back east. So it's kind of like it's the beauty of technology that you guys can put all this together and make it look seamless. Yeah.
Well, again, I take no credit other than for my outfits and the sheet I had to iron too. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like you mentioned, that the single video, and we've kind of talked about this in the last interview, that for me, being someone who's been a fan of your music since the 80s, it's such a huge turnaround about how they approach promotion, how they approach this. Even like sometimes albums don't even come out. It's always going to be singles. Then they do an EP of things for certain artists. And it's just like, and almost like as soon as something comes out, it's instantly available. Like I know there's bands that will put out a CD, let's say, and then it's instantly officially on YouTube. It's kind of like, well, isn't that kind of defeating the purpose of people buying the product?
Yeah, it's a bit of a different landscape out there right now, and I think that I know that when we put out a Christmas album, like, did I mention this? We put out an independent Christmas album last Christmas in 2020. Yeah, so we did an album last Christmas called Almost Christmas, and there wasn't enough time for us to get global distribution, and we're like, well, let's just put it as an independent release on our website and see how that goes. And my whole agenda was to drive traffic to the website so people would buy it. And I put a single up on Spotify, but I wasn't about to put the whole album up there. But there seems to be a different way of doing things nowadays. I think for a lot of the record labels, they feel that if they drop bang, 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 3 singles in a row and get people excited enough about the album, then they will want to go buy it. And I know certainly with my audience, which are mostly people, I would say between the age of, 35 to 60, they still like to buy physical product, which is a beautiful thing, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm one of those people. I've mentioned that to many of my guests that if they have something new coming out, I always say, do you have a CD planned? Do you have vinyl planned? Do you have something tangible planned? And and depending on the style of music they do, and also their age or generation, they may say, well, we want to do it, but we haven't looked at that. We're going all digital platforms, and it's just kind of like sometimes I feel like a dinosaur.
Well, I feel really blessed in a weird way as an artist, because having, I guess what you'd call, what do they call it? Legacy status, right? Because I've been doing this since I was a teenager. which results in, me having a career that has spanned a few decades now. And my fans still want to buy physical product. They still my fans still love vinyl. They want to like open it up and look at the sleeve, and luckily Radio On, it's beautiful packaging. It's white vinyl. There's a picture sleeve inside, and it's a double fold out panel with all the lyrics and the pictures of the band, and and my fans still love that. I still love that, so yeah, because I know it is a bit of a weird landscape, to having been an artist that has come from the age of radio, when I would get things played on the radio and on, say, Much Music. And I remember when we all got retroactive royalties for all of that heavy rotation on Much Music and MTV. I got like these thousands of dollars in the mail. I'm like, woo! But that doesn't happen anymore. Now, it's a weird world where people are being paid. Like, I mean, some of my royalty statements, it's like 0.00003 of a cent that you're getting for a stream, right? So it's different.
Yeah, for sure. And you've kind of mentioned that you've had a very successful career for decades now, and I'm just kind of curious. I have a random kind of mind of, you look terrific. I'm wondering, what are you doing? Are you like clean living? What's going on here? Can you share what your secret is to looking so good for so many years?
Okay, now hashtag beauty talk. Well, I mean, I don't really know what to say. Thank you. I think our kids, our children keep me young. I mean, I'm constantly busy. I think staying busy keeps you young. I don't know. I think rock and roll keeps you young. I went through, I don't know if I spoke to you about this, because I have talked a little bit about this, but I got really, really sick, I don't know, maybe a decade ago with bilateral pneumonia. I was really, really run down from early motherhood. And I realized at that point in time, because it took me quite a while to get better, and I had breathing issues. I ended up with an infection on my vocal cords at the end of it, because they put me on so many antibiotics and weird things, and which caused a residual infection. And at that point in time, it was a little bit of a wake-up call, and I was sort of like, man, my only defense against aging is two things. You have to use your body. You have to move. You have to, like, I am walking, running, hiking every day of my life. I have a treadmill, and building up your immune system. And the only way to really build up your immune system is to put good things in your body. So yeah, I do eat meat that is raised ethically. If it comes out of the ground, I'll eat it, but I avoid processed foods like the plague, and try to get enough sleep. I don't really have any kind of secret wisdom for you that most people don't already know. Sleep, putting good things in your body, building up your immune system, and moisture. I cake moisturizing cream on my face at night. What can I say? You need to moisturize your skin and wear sunscreen. I wear sunscreen all the time. I didn't used to, but now I do.
Okay, well, thanks for sharing that. That's good advice for people out there. And sometimes it's even just like a nice reminder of, like, maybe you already know what you should be doing, but it's like when you hear and see somebody, it's like, well, this is living proof of, like, if you put good things in your body and you exercise on a regular basis, and also kind of I think if it's your mentality too, of how you approach life, of being a bit young at heart, it all kind of comes together, and you can kind of see a difference versus going the other way and putting pollution in your body and other kinds of things that aren't good for you.
I got to tell you, every time my son wants me to buy him like a Coke or a root beer at a store, I'm just like, dude, 26 grams of sugar. What are you doing? Sugar is evil. That's what I have to say. Sugar is really bad. So again, I don't want to say that I preach anything so religiously. Like, do I eat chocolate sometimes? Yes. I made cheesecake the other day. My family loves cheesecake. Did I have a piece? Well, yeah, I had a small piece, but I don't overindulge on stuff like that. And again, Do I love exercise? No. I have a treadmill that has an iPad stand so I can watch Netflix shows. So I don't realize that I'm like on there going, I'm like, ooh, wonder what's going to happen now, and so I don't really love it, but I realize that, if you don't use it, you lose it. So there you go.
There you go. And yeah, it's like you said, I think it's if you're doing things in moderation, and if you're having that little bit of something, if it's a little slice of cheesecake, here and there, and that's fine. But if you're like eating half of it, then it's kind of like
exactly right. It's everything in moderation, right?
Bit of an issue. And I know the other thing that kind of turned me off from sodas and pops and stuff was when I learned that you could take Coca-Cola and clean the battery acid off the battery in your car with it. And it's like, imagine what that's doing to your body. It's like, oh man. And it actually does work on the battery because I actually tried it. And it just
I did a science experiment when I was in high school where we put a nail in Coca-Cola and left it for like a month, and there was hardly a nail left. It will literally eat metal. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oh,
I know, that's scary, huh?
Yeah, it is. It's like, oh my gosh. And something else kind of segueing into, again, being a longtime fan of yours, something I've always wanted to know, and maybe you've already addressed this at some point, is that, and I have it here. So when I remember buying the 12-inch of Rock Me All Over, I just remember as a teenager when Call of the Wild, the album came out, that the lyrics were different on that song. And can you tell me the backstory behind that?
The lyrics are different on the single than they are on the album?
Yeah, but there's at least one verse that the lyrics are different. And I was kind of like, what happened? And as a kid, I didn't understand any of that stuff. Or maybe there's something wrong with the pressing. I don't know, but there's definitely different lyrics.
I can tell you exactly what happened there. It's funny because I was having this conversation with my husband on a walk the other day because we were talking about that whole thing of how women were very sexualized in the 80s in the marketing, especially the world of hard rock, right? Like women were trophy women, right? And again, and this is not casting blame on anybody or criticizing, because I got to work with a lot of wonderful people, and Bob Ezrin was one of those people. Bob Ezrin was the producer of Call of the Wild, and he gave me great tips for taking care of my voice and vocal stuff. And but the original Rock Me All Over was written about the excitement of going to a rock show and seeing your favorite band and being part of a collective experience of being in the sweaty pit of the front row, of loving this band that you're seeing, and letting and the music filling your heart, and the collective experience of rock with your comrades, right? That was the original lyric content of Rock Me All Over. Bob Ezrin felt that it would be much more timely and effective if the lyrics were rewritten to be from the perspective of a woman in the front row, hot for a guy in the band.
Oh.
And so I was told to go home and do a rewrite. And that is the single. That's all I have to say.
Okay,
Those were not the original lyrics. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. Because I just remember, I mean, obviously back then I wasn't thinking anything of like why, production wise, and why, companies tell artists to do certain things and make changes to things. It's just like, how come this song has different lyrics than the one that ended up on the album?
But you know what? And I don't, like, hey, this guy, Bob Ezrin, like, he'd done the biggest bands in the world, had a track record of hits. I was not about to say no, that I didn't want to do that. I thought he must know what he's doing. But you're the only person ever who has ever asked me that question, ever.
Oh, wow. Okay, well.
Yeah, so there you go. You're quite, that's quite perceptive. I mean, that you're digging that deep. I'm impressed.
Yeah, no, I'm I'm honestly shocked that somebody hasn't brought that up over the many years, since that was released, about the difference between the two. Okay, well, there it is. Thank you for giving me the backstory. So now I know why that is the way it is, and kind of bring us up more to the present. You've been doing a lot of Ask Lee Instagram live sessions where you take questions from fans and things from all throughout your career. When did that start? Like, did you just decide to do it, or were you just getting a lot of fan questions? That this would be kind of a fun way to kind of answer all things kind of in one shot.
Well, what I was finding is that people would make comments and ask me a lot of questions in comments. And truthfully, I don't have time because I'm running my own little boutique label, and I'm, a parent, and I'm the songwriter and producer, and I'm wearing a lot of hats these days. I don't have time to sit on social media and answer everybody's questions, and not to be rude, but social media is a rabbit hole that can consume a lot of your time, as you're well aware. And so my husband actually suggested just after Christmas, he said, look, this other artist that he really liked, who's not in the rock genre at all, his name is Steve Forbert, wonderful, talented guy though. He said he's done a couple of these things called Ask Steve. He said, I think that's what you should do. You should do an Ask Lee, so you can address some of the questions that fans are asking you. And I thought, oh, okay, that's a great idea. So in January, I just started it, and now I'm on episode 20, and the questions keep coming. So, I'm having to filter through some of them a little more carefully now, because some people that are just discovering Ask Lee are asking me questions I've already answered in like episode 5 or 7, So I don't want to be redundant. But it's a nice way for me to be able to give people a shout out and go, hey, I know a lot of artists have gone to places like Cameo or Patreon, and where they have their fans pay a certain amount of money to answer a question or to get a shout out or do whatever. And truthfully, it's just not really my style. If my fans are going to pay for something, they're actually going to get a solid piece of music, that's a product. They don't have to pay for a shout out. So I'm very happy to do shout outs online and do that. And, hopefully people aren't getting bored. I don't know how much longer I'll continue it. I still have quite a few more pages of questions to wade through. But so what I've been trying to do is go around my yard or my house or different locations and just keep my environment a little bit interesting while I'm doing it, so that people aren't getting bored, right?
Well, I have a feeling that you're going to have even more questions to add to it once the album comes out next month.
You never know.
And you're right. I like the fact that you're mixing it up with your backgrounds. I think I saw at least one where there was that like your family's like DVD collection behind you at one point, and there was a bunch of almost like a hallway of albums and a bunch. It looked like a vault of memorabilia back there. Wow.
Yes. Well, that's my husband's and my collection. It's most, I have to give him most of the credit for it. He's been a vinyl collector for 40 years. And since he was a young teen, and so we have this massive vinyl library and that is sort of evolved into a CD collection and also DVDs, movies. He loves hard copy everything, and we have a massive movie library as well. Now, that said, most of the movies in our library are classic movies and critically acclaimed film. Like, there's no garbage in there, So
nice. So sounds like
right on Rocky.
Must be quite the cinephile then. Probably,
yes, yeah. Well, we both kind of are. We love film, so we watch a lot of film, and sometimes we'll get on like a kick, like, ooh, let's, Ingmar Bergman, let's watch all his movies, like just see what they're like, or Kurosawa, or what I mean, stuff like that. So we get on kicks. Our kids have seen every Woody Allen film, right? So
that's awesome. I'm doing the whole film review thing that started last year during the pandemic, and actually next week on the 9th, the Tribeca Film Festival starts. So I've got a lot of homework to do virtually before I start diving into that. The press releases are coming fast and furious for that, but I love it. I mean, I'm such a fan of film, and there's so many different things out there to explore from different countries and different genres and all that. So it's
Absolutely. Our kids I think our kids learned to reading subtitles in their life. So we actually do watch a lot of foreign film, and it's a beautiful thing because there's just some amazing movies being made out there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, at least for me, during the pandemic period, a lot of things that were foreign were coming over to U.S. shores because the U.S. studios couldn't put anything out. They couldn't finish anything. So it's like, well, here's something that came out in 2019 from this country or something, even 2020 in some cases. So there's some, amazing. I don't understand folks that I know a couple people that I'm thinking about right now that if there's a foreign film, they don't want to read the subtitles. They want a dubbed version in English. I'm like, no. Hear it in its original language and then read. It's always better.
It's never quite the same. No, I 100% agree with you. It's funny because I just watched a Netflix series called Dark, which is a Scandinavian made. And I wasn't able to get it with the subtitles. I had to watch it dubbed. And even though it was very well done, I know that there were definitely things lost in translation. So for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And something else I wanted to kind of touch on, and I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but last time when we talked, you mentioned that you had gone back to school and got your degree, and were working with folks that are on the spectrum. And I know your son's high functioning. And have you done any work with like music therapy then in the schools, or is that something you would consider in the future? There's so many different branches of that, but it just seemed with somebody who's got a music background and the educational background piece to back it up, it kind of made sense to me.
It's interesting that you asked that. And that is something that I'm not, the thing is I have a degree in special education, not music therapy. So I'm not actually allowed to practice music therapy, but in my capacity as a special educator, I can use music. Does that make sense? So music is something that I have brought in. Sometimes kids that can't make a connection, especially with autism any other way, if you bring in something to teach, numbers or letters or concepts that's very musical, they immediately, they memorize it. They make a connection that way. And also, with, although I haven't done a whole lot of work with elderly, I have worked with the elderly somewhat, but in a volunteer capacity because I like older people. And that's something, it's just sort of one of the philanthropic side things that I've done in my life. I don't really talk about a lot of the philanthropy that I've done. I've been a believer. I know some artists are like, look at me and I stand for this or I stand for that, but I've always taken it more of a anonymous approach. I don't know. It's a little bit biblical. We're not supposed to brag about the good things we do, right? But so I don't talk about it a lot. But yeah, and I've used music with the elderly as well, and it, taking them back to a place where it's amazing how much it lifts their heart and their spirits and their mental capacity when you let them listen to music that they loved. It's amazing. But I'm a huge believer that music overall, across all, race, culture, it's one of those things that is healing and that brings people together in communion, right? I'm a firm believer in that.
So am I. I think when they talk about the universal language of music, it's very true. You could be sitting with somebody that doesn't speak your language from a completely different part of the world, and then a song comes on and you can both be doing this to it or smiling or whatever it is or however it makes you feel, and it instantly connects you and bonds you with that person. You may not know anything else about them. It's so magical that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. It's the soundtrack of our lives, right?
It absolutely is, and your music a part of my soundtrack of my life for sure. So to kind of wrap this up again, for everybody out there, on July 23rd, the album comes out. Lee just mentioned that this Friday, the second music video is going to be coming. Is that something we're supposed to wait for? Can you mention which song it's for? Or?
The next single is the ballad off the album, 21. I love this song. I'm very proud of it. I wrote it originally on piano. And then when we were in the studio, there was a beautiful Steinway, because generally Lee Aaron music is mostly guitar based. I don't know that I've had some piano in the background tracks in the back, on some of my music, but I've never actually recorded the song led completely by piano. And I sat down and my band, they were just like, you should just play piano on this one. You wrote it on piano. And so the video is pretty much just me playing piano. And, but I love the sentiment of this song. It's called 21 and it's like a love letter to my fans that have grown up with me, that have survived life. They've survived trials and tribulations, parenthood, death of loved ones, financial struggles. Like we've all been through the ringer and back, and we've survived. And music is that one thing, the universal thing that takes us back to that place in our life where we're like, my heart hasn't aged. Has your heart? My heart is still 21. And that's what the song is about. So I'm really proud of it, and I'm excited for it. It's coming this Friday.
Awesome. That's beautiful. And I remember during our first interview that the two songs that stood out to me was Come On and 21. So I'm extra stoked that that's going to be the video that we get on Friday. Lee, again, thank you so much for taking the second time to talk with me. And if there ends up being a third time a month from now, I think I'm probably going to be bugging Nathan about it, trying to get myself on the list.
Absolutely. Let's talk again. Why not?
I absolutely love this. So thank you so much for taking the time. I hope you have a great, beautiful, afternoon up there in BC. And hopefully you and your family stay safe. Yeah,
well, things are on the decline here in terms of COVID rates. So things are looking up. My kids are like, Mom, when can we have just a couple friends over for a barbecue or something? I'm like, soon. So my heart is starting to lift because, it looks like things are going to be hopefully in the next few months getting back to more sense of normal, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I know I'm feeling that uplifting as well down here, and it's just making me happy.
Yeah. And our family loves Seattle and Portland, by the way. So you never know. We love to visit there, actually. So. Oh, awesome. Well, yeah. Maybe I can wave to you from afar or something, or I don't know how that kind of thing works in person, but no, that's awesome that you love to come down to the Northwest to visit. Yeah. You gotta hit up the Experience Museum once a year at least, right? Yeah, that's true. Gosh, when was the last time I was there? Because I've seen several different exhibits at the EMP, and it's just gonna be nice to be back in things that I used to go to. Period. Because I just thought I haven't been down to that area for over a year. I know. I haven't sat in a restaurant. My daughter's birthday is on the 7th of June, and she's like, Mom, do you think we could go to a restaurant and sit in the patio? I'm like, let's see, maybe. But yeah, we literally haven't been to a restaurant in a year either. So my immediate family, that resonates with me. We just went to our first restaurant this past Saturday, the 5 of us. Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting how, one, it's very surreal. 2, I was very happy, but 3, it's also kind of like there's still this kind of almost like you're doing something wrong because you're not used to it, which is so strange. Well, we're all paranoid now. We're like, oh, any germs on this fork? You know what I mean? Bring your own plastic cutlery. That is true. There's that element there for sure. And just a paranoia. I'd like to think we move forward in life with a bit of a healthy paranoia, because I got to tell you, I haven't been sick in a year and a half. I don't know about you, but all this hand washing and cautionary measures, I've been the healthiest I've been in my whole life. So I hope that part of it continues, but I'd love to be giving hugs to my friends very soon.
Yeah, here to that. And you're absolutely right. I think one thing that's nice too is that not only have people been healthier in terms of not getting flus and colds and things, but if you do feel like that, let's say in the fall, and you put a mask on, people aren't going to look at you funny. It's become like, oh, maybe you have a cold, or maybe you have allergies, or you have something, and you're trying to be mindful of it instead of like, why are they wearing a mask? What's going on with that person? It's like no one's going to think twice about it now.
Well, and you know what the weird thing is? I've noticed that, like, certainly in Vancouver, it's very multicultural here, which is a wonderful thing. But certain cultures already prior to COVID had adopted. Like, I'd go out and I'd go see some lady with a mask on. I'm going, what's she wearing a mask for? But now I'm going, she probably had a cold, or maybe she's immune compromised and she's choosing to wear one, which really is a totally smart thing, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm hoping, we're just going to be all more mindful moving forward.
Yep, absolutely. And again, it's great that we're on this path of things getting better. And then you've got new music coming out officially in a month. And I just can't wait for all of this stuff, everything just to come together the way we want it to. And also to hopefully put into practice things we learned over the last year, because it'll be really easy to just kind of slip back to 2019, whatever practices you had. It's like, no, almost everybody I know had some kind of reflection during the last year. It's like, okay, so what did you decide you wanted to change? How are you going to make those changes happen moving forward now that things are starting to open up, and try to stick to it?
Absolutely. No, for sure. Well, hey, Mark, it was awesome. And let's talk again. It was lovely talking to you.
Absolutely. Have a good day up there. Thank you so much.
Yes. Okay. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.